Welcome back to another video on my channel, and in today's video we are going to be talking about 10 first instruments of legendary guitar heroes. Let's get into it. First on the list, and in at number 10, is James Hetfield with the piano. So the world probably collectively spat out its coffee in 1999 when Metallica announced that they were going to do 2 special concerts with the San Francisco Symphony, and we now know it as the S&M concert, and they've recently done another one. But Hetfield had some experience with more classical music way before the metal that we know him for now. In his words, "My mum had seen me at a friend's house just kind of start bashing on the piano," he recalls, and she thought, okay, we'll sign him up for the piano. It was an older woman's house, and the cookies at the end were the big deal. Number 9 is Pete Townshend with the harmonica, believe it or not. So you can't do the classic Pete Townshend windmills on a harmonica, and it looks pretty pathetic when you smash one on the floor, which probably explains why the Who legend traded in his tin sandwich for a guitar at aged 11. He says, "I got very good at the harmonica," he recalled in 1990. Not quite Stevie Wonder, but very good. And obviously now we know him for being the guitar virtuoso in The Who. So in at number 8 is Josh Rand and his first instrument, bass guitar. So age 9, the Stone Sour rhythm guitarist got a Strat copy for Christmas, like most of us, but ultimately decided to learn Billy Sheehan's back catalogue on a Squier bass instead. He says, "At the time I didn't realise it, but what I had done was strengthen my hands so much from playing bass that one day I picked up a friend's guitar and could play all this shreddy stuff." And I've tried to play bass before, and the strings are ridiculous. I think I play quite thick strings on my guitar, being the skinny top, heavy bottom set, but bass is just next level. It's not surprising that you got hand strength from that. In at number 7 is John Mayall, and his first instrument was the ukulele. So with no guitar tabs or dubious internet tutorials, the adolescent blues great was forced to learn the rinky-dink version of guitar through the post with the aid of George Formby Teach Yourself Ukulele Correspondence course. So back probably when it was just a book, I can't even imagine it was like VHS at that point, if you know what VHS is. And he taught himself how to play the ukulele before then becoming a blues great on the guitar. In at number 6 is Johnny Greenwood, and his first instrument, the recorder. So Radiohead's Telethrottler is also handy on the viola, piano, glockenspiel, mellotron, the accordion, and way more. But like many unfortunate kids, he started on the primary school instrument from hell, the recorder. But weirdly, Johnny is credited for the recorder on the Benz. So it didn't do him all that bad. If you know of any guitar legends' first instruments that weren't guitar, that are not on this list, let me know in the comments below. In at number 5, we have Brian Jones and his first instrument, the saxophone. So at 15, 2 years before acquiring his first acoustic guitar, the original Rolling Stone heard Jazz Cat Cannonball Adderley and begged his parents for a saxophone, which, if you've ever heard a saxophone in person, you would understand why parents might be a bit reluctant to buy one. They are so loud. He wasn't bad either, supplying the parts on Something Happened to Me Yesterday, but ultimately we know him as being the lead and first Rolling Stone with guitar and vocal. In at number 4 is Walter Trout, and his first instrument, more brass, the trumpet. The blues rocker hung out at jazz joints in Atlantic City and even got a private lesson from Cat Anderson on his 10th birthday. This is what he said. It meant I got out of playing a lot of sports at school. It was like, you can either play the trumpet or you can go run around the track for an hour. And quite clearly, he chose the trumpet. In at number 3 is John Lennon. And although his first instrument isn't a guitar, it does have strings. It's the banjo. So before he had the Rickenbacker 325 and the Epiphone Casino that he's so famous for playing in the Beatles, Lennon twanged rock and roll standards on a banjo. But the banjo that he did play hasn't been seen since 1958. And auctioneers estimate that if it ever did resurface, it could fetch north of £3 million. In at number 2, Angus Young. Also, the banjo. So since 1973, AC/DC's Man-Child has been the global ambassador for the Gibson SG. Undeniable. Up there with Tony Iommi. But back when he was an actual schoolboy, Angus opted for the country music weapon of choice, the banjo. He said, I restrung them up with 6 strings, he remembers. So it was just an instrument of opportunity, I believe, for Angus Young. No real interest in playing the banjo, probably just the closest thing he had to the guitar at the time. In at number 1 is the Pantera legend, Dimebag Darrell, and his first instrument, the drums. So YouTube footage can be found of Dime laying down some semi-competent beats, and it's a reminder that the Pantera ace was in fact briefly a drummer before sense prevailed. My dad got us a drum set, remembers brother and bandmate Vinnie Paul of their musical beginnings, Pantera and Damageplan's drummer, and Hell Yeah's drummer. I got better than Dime and I just started hogging it, so we went to my dad and said, I need a guitar, man. And the rest is history, since Dime became a pioneer of guitar, and we've all seen those early images of him in his Kiss makeup with that Les Paul and the original lightning bolt ML that he had that became the Dime from Hell. We remember all of that. Cheers for watching, guys. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a like, comment what you would like to see in the future, if anything, and subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up to date on all the content that I'm putting out at the moment. Hope you have a good day. See ya.